It says a lot that a man that could easily do a lot of damage, probably destroy an entire country by himself with his psychic capabilities, resulted in just talking with an individual to try to calm them down. This was a very impactful episode of Mob Psycho 100, and once again shows a really good example why this is one of my favorite series of this season, and why I think it's probably the best series of this season. I mean, Mob's development. I know I'm mentioning it all the time, but it's so obvious and just so amazing when you see an episode like this. When he talks with, I think his name is Serizawa, I think that's how you pronounce his name. When he's sitting there talking with the man at the beginning of this episode, or at least the first half, it's very powerful because obviously Mob could have easily have trampled over that man, demolished him, and everything would have been over in an instant. But because of Mob's genuine good nature, how nice he is, it resulted in where he looked at the man and tried to help him out. And normally this would be a very cliche moment. It would irk me, because this is something you would see common in a series like this, especially about friends and having people that have your back and all that. This is something you would see common in a series. It's Nakama power-up, it's friendship, talk no jutsu. There's different terms and stuff you can apply to it, but it's common. And the reason why I think I'm fine with this, and probably many are fine with it, is because it fits in line with Mob's character and his development. It's not being forced down your throat and shoved to where, like, you have to accept it. This is something Mob would do. And also, it makes it even better that the character, Serizawa, is someone that has lived a very similar life to Mob. It just, Serizawa wasn't fortunate enough. And it's kind of like the Mogami situation. Remember Mogami? He was pretty much like Mob, except he had a different path. Like, different things opened up and different doors closed, and it resulted in his decision to just become what he did, a monster. But Mob once again helped him out, allowed him to see a different path, and Mogami also helped out Mob. And so this once again is another example of a path that Mob could have easily have taken if it wasn't for his fortunate circumstance of being able to meet Reigen. If it wasn't for that, he probably would have ended up either like Mogami or Serizawa. And that's what makes this scene so powerful. Why I say the cliche of him talking to the man instead of brute forcing it or bringing him down works here. Because that's the whole point of the story. This story has never really been about fights. Yes, the fights are amazing. Studio Bones goes in. They go ham with the art quality, the animation, and I don't want nothing less. It's just that good. But at the same time, even though I love that type of stuff to this series, and nobody can deny that, the story isn't really about the action. It's actually about the character development, the character interactions of Mob, and how he has changed, how people change around him. And because of what he's experienced, what he's went through, and the fortunate circumstance of meeting his mentor, he's gotten to where he's at. And so because of his knowledge and wisdom now, he's trying to pass this on to another. And so when he's talking to Serizawa, trying to help him out see a different way, that made me incredibly happy, because Mob isn't just keeping everything he learned to himself, he's trying to express it and help others out too, as they've helped him out. And he kind of wants to be Serizawa's, like Serizawa's Reigen. For instance, how Mob has had his mentor constantly help him out. That's kind of what he probably wants to be to him. He wants to help him out, because the dude is obviously a shut-in. I mean, we got his entire backstory of how he was and how the president found him. His entire backstory just smells of what Mob was going through, and basically what he would have gone through if life would have continued to be like it was. Because remember, at the beginning of the story, Season 1, Mob was terrified of his powers. Like, he didn't want to hurt anyone. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. He doesn't want to use his powers so bad. He doesn't want to, do anything like that. He was just terrified. And he knew his brother was terrified of him because of what he did. He didn't like that. And we see how, once again, Mob hasn't forgotten that. He hasn't forgotten the issues of his past. And he's learned to work through it and try to better himself and try to be able to communicate with people, but also not worry too much about his powers and control them properly. And see, that's what Serizawa has never gotten. He was always shunned, always looked at like a freak. He never had anyone that he could talk to and was fortunate enough to talk to. And so that's why Mom wanted to help him out. He's like, I see myself in him. He's a shut-in. He's someone that didn't have anyone. He was fearful of his powers. And so that moment is beautiful. It's a very beautiful moment of Mob Psycho, and I think everybody can agree with me. It's probably one of the best moments of the episode. I mean, I love the finale part with, the president going 10% and, demolishing Mob, but I love that character development. it fits so perfectly with the story, especially everything that's been built up for a long time, and how now Mob has progressed so much. Our little, I guess, cupcake, whatever nickname you want to give to Mob, he has actually developed to a point to where he can help others now. It's not just him trying to help himself, he's trying to help others. So yeah. But okay, Serizawa, as a character, I really like him. He's a cool character, he's a cool dude, and I do hope that, we get more of him. Hopefully this isn't, like, the only time we really get to see him, because, I mean, he's epic. He's an awesome character to hang around, and I think he'd be a nice little, part of the cast, like, if he was to interact with Mob, because, I mean, Mob can give his experiences to the man and help him out. And even though the dude is obviously older, it doesn't change the fact that certain people are just wiser than others. It doesn't really matter about age sometimes. It just depends on the experiences you went through, and if you've gotten to learn certain things or not. You picked up on it along the way. And thanks to that, Mob is obviously a lot wiser than Serizawa, and he's able to express and give that knowledge to him, for he may one day pass it on to others where they might not be as, fortunate. To others that are not fortunate, he can help them out. So yeah. Anyways, I do think that it's also a really epic moment with Reigen and how he goes in and he actually is willing to face the president and take him out. Yes, he backed up and he was like, oh, I was just kidding and all that, but Reigen was a really strong individual in that moment. Like, he stepped up to the plate. Someone that is obviously, making Mob struggle, he stepped up and is like, there's more to strength or different powers than psychic or Esper abilities. That's what he was basically saying. And in that moment, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. That really does. And I know once again, it sounds cliche, but it is legit. There is a lot of things that could be stronger than physical strength. It's kind of like this. You can be the strongest man in the world, but it doesn't mean that you technically are the strongest. You may be stronger in the physical category, maybe the mental category of using Esper abilities, but it doesn't mean you're better in every single area in the world. There's always someone better than you. And that's kind of what Reigen was trying to say, is that there is power stronger than you, or things that you don't understand properly and ways to defeat you. And this reminded me of the entire situation of Hunter x Hunter. I'm not going to get into little details, but if you ever watch the, Chimera Ant arc of Hunter x Hunter, you'll remember the whole Meruem saga and what happened. The theme behind it, the story behind it, the message there, that's what I was reminded of. And I was like, holy crap, that does make sense and all that. And I, in that moment, really respected Reigen as a character and how he stood up to this man and was pretty much speaking the truth. He wasn't really being a con man. He was actually just speaking facts. But also, seeing the man hold up like a weapon like that and stand before the dude, I was like, I never thought in my entire life I would ever see Reigen, hold a weapon like that and face the dude. That's pretty epic. Like, whoa. Like, whoa, the man was ready. He even shot. Like, okay, man. Like, chill now. Chill. But, yeah. It really impressed me. I was really impressed with Reigen, too, seeing him actually go in like that. And when he was probably about to die, thankfully Serizawa actually saved him, which was able to allow Mob to realize, wake up, that sometimes people might need to have force used against them to be able to see another way. And once again, this goes along with Mob's character development. Like, he is a soft individual. He's a soft little buttercup that, wants to, help people. But sometimes you have to use force to get the point across. And that's kind of what Mob is going to have to do now, is probably to try to get force, in there, force across on the dude to make him realize what's really going on. So yeah, Mob, he went to rage mode, 100% rage, and he's still getting demolished. Okay. I mean, granted, we know Mob is a lot stronger than that, than 100%. We know he has like a mystery percent, which is when he's kind of unconscious. We know about that. But at the same time, it's a very dangerous mode, because he's not aware, he's not conscious in that moment. And so, the president is no joke. He is definitely a strong opponent. I think that I think by himself, he probably isn't that crazy strong, but I think thanks to all the years of him going around exploring the world, allowing him to, take people's powers and gain their energy, has allowed him to reach the point where he's at. If it wasn't for that, I think he would not be as strong as he is. The only reason why he's this stronger is he's basically major espers, all the strong into one. All the strong espers into one body, all their power into one. So that's why he's so powerful. I think if he didn't have that type of ability, he never would have been in this position, which is why he feared Mob, was because it's not the fact that Mob's 100% is weaker or even stronger. He's like, one day he could rival my power because of just how his ability works, and that's why he was absolutely terrified. Why he looked at Mobs like he's my mortal enemy, because he's the only person that could probably undo everything he's done, take his powers too, and apply it to Mob onto his body, to where Mob can be very strong and overpower him. That's what he was fearful about. Which does make me kind of scared, though. Is the man able to steal Mob's energy? What if he does steal Mob's energy? That would be kind of terrifying. And I do wonder if there's actually an upper limit as well. Like, I mean, I'm kind of curious if there's a limit. We know a vessel can break. It was stated through a couple episodes back with Mob that a vessel broke. But I wonder if you gain too much Esper-like power and all that, and he keeps absorbing more others, will there be a limit to where his body no longer can really contain that? That is something I am curious about that hasn't really been established. I don't know if it will be discussed or established or talked about ever again, but that is something incredibly important. But yeah, overall, it's a great episode of Mob Psycho 100. I think that everything was nailed properly to the character development, to the beautiful facial expressions, the art and animation, and also seeing, for once, a character using, like, percentage besides Mob to fight Mob. That was a really good thing added in, too, because, I mean, we've always seen Mob go 100% or whatever, but we never seen another character really face him with anything. And this man's, like, saying, I use 10%. I'm like, okay, man, like, just chill now. Only using 10% and you're just curb stomping Mob that easily. That's saying a lot. In which I feel like if he keeps hitting the man, he's going to make him go unconscious, which will eventually get into the mystery percent. Let's hope that happens, actually, because I think next week is the finale. Oh, yeah, by the way, the president, can we admit that the man looked like he was shooting death beams off, like Frieza, in that moment on the building? Like, I legitimately got Frieza vibes. All I needed was the, oh, ho, ho, like the, you know, the Frieza laugh, like the iconic laugh, or whatever. I can't do it right, but all we needed was that iconic Frieza laugh for that moment, and it would have been perfect, because that man was legitimately doing the pose and everything, shooting his death beams like Frieza. I'm like, sudden Dragon Ball Z. Sudden Dragon Ball Z up in this episode. But okay, that's pretty much about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below, because for some reason, even if you click the subscribe button, you don't always get notified. So if you do want to get notified, like I said, hit that bell icon. And this doesn't go just for me. This goes for all YouTubers on the platform. And so with that, I love you guys. Be safe. Chibi out.